Hi, this is Tim. I just want to give you an overview of the Pan-Canadian Trust Framework, the version 0.9 of the document that we've been producing. I have it up on the screen here. I'm just going to give you a quick walkthrough of the document, and then I'll point you to the link when I post it on Twitter. It's a pretty substantive document, it's 55 pages in total. We've been consolidating a lot of the prior work that we've been doing over the last 2-3 years, and I just bring up the table of contents here. Purpose, development strategy, terms and definitions, background and context. Then we get into the meat of the framework of the essential elements of the Pan-Canadian Trust Framework. There's a few items that we haven't actually completed yet, but we needed to get a document out for an in-person workshop that we're doing next week, so we'll be finishing up some of those pieces. So there you go, we've got the table of contents in its full glory. The figures, a lot of these pictures or diagrams we developed in the consultation deck that we've been providing. Just working through very quickly, purpose of the document, provide an overview of the Pan-Canadian Trust Framework, the work that we've been doing with the Identity Management Subcommittee. That's a group that consists of the federal, provincial, and territorial jurisdictions, and so we've been working on this. The other thing here is that it's under the Open Canada government license. We have a link there in the document. Terms and definitions, we have a substantial appendix with all the definitions that we've developed over the years that are in our policy instruments or some of our other documents. Just a general background and context about what we're trying to do here. Key thing is that we're developing this for a pan-Canadian context. Again, Canada is a federation. We have different levels of government, different jurisdictions, so we want that to work across the different jurisdictions. Also, taking into account other trust frameworks initiatives that are out there, Kintara, In Common, Open Identity Exchange, Safe Biopharma, and also work that's been done in the US and the UK, etc. Talk about general context. Again, a key thing here is that we want to have a high degree of interoperability that requires mutual trust. And that's the essence of the trust framework, so that we can do an assessment with sufficient diligence and transparency so we can make a decision on accepting a trusted digital identity. Again, the goal, we want to support Canadian values, we want to support the development of a Canadian digital identity ecosystem, and making sure that we put the conditions in place that allows for innovation and the shaping of the ecosystem so that it actually works best for Canadians. We recognize that there's dependencies and differences across the jurisdictions. That's the thing, this sits in the middle between legislation and policies within jurisdictions and actually the business rules, and so it fits in that spot. I think one of the terms I'm hearing is at layer 4, layer 3. This sits kind of at layer 3.5. Essential characteristics. A lot of the stuff we've already gone through in the webinar on the consultation deck. The scope. A key thing here is that the trust framework is really supported by or backstopped by what we call foundational identity that comes from the provinces, territories, Immigration, Refugee, Citizenship Canada, First Nations, and it actually can give rise or anchor to what we are now calling contextual identity. Contextual identity is something that operates or works within a particular context. That could be a sector context, it could be a program context, a service context. That needs to be defined when you're actually applying the framework. Trusted digital representations, we brought the abstraction one level up. We realize that there's more than just trusted digital identities of persons or individuals. We have to do that for organizations. And another key thing that we're working on is the notion of a trusted digital relationship, that we have to have a high level abstraction. It could be ownership of a corporation, it could be a parent relationship, it could be a guardian, etc. So we've abstracted that into one of the high level trusted digital representations that we have to be concerned with. Trusted supporting infrastructure. Lots of stuff has to happen to make this work. We put the trusted supporting infrastructure as a key enabling piece to really situate all the existing products out there, or methodologies or capabilities that need to support the trust framework. The thing is that the trust framework sits on the shoulders of all of this great stuff that's already been built and engineered. And then this comes to the high-level model of the Pan-Canadian Trust Framework. We have the trusted digital representations, and then we have the trusted supporting infrastructure there. That's really the essence of the trust framework. How can I trust a trusted digital identity from a person? How can I accept it? How might that be conveyed through a trusted supporting infrastructure? The trusted process model we've talked about. There's a detailed description of what that is. A discussion on mapping this to existing processes. We know that a lot of these processes already exist within organizations at different names or combined with other existing processes. So one of the things that needs to be done is to map it to existing processes within an institution or organization. Discussion of the atomic trusted processes. These are the Lego blocks, and that actually affect a state change. That's the other thing too, is that we're recognizing that we've got these emerging technologies coming about, like blockchain, state transition, global state transition machines. So we've modeled it in a way that we can actually take advantage of those capabilities when they become available. Compound trusted processes, you can mix and match and make them into higher order business processes. We've got some slides on that. We haven't written that section up yet. This is where the meat of the matter is. We've got the atomic trusted processes. We've paid a lot of attention to defining the trusted processes, defining the input state, the output state, identity resolution, identity establishment, identity validation, identity verification, evidence validation, identity presentation, so on and so forth. And there's some pieces that we're still just finishing up. Then we get into the credential part. I'll just blast through that very quickly. Notice and consent, or we're calling that informed consent. And we've added signature on there too, because we need that process as well. Then we have a discussion of the compound processes for identity assurance that enables a proof of identity. We have credential assurance, which gives rise to an authenticated user. And we have informed consent, which gives rise to what we're calling express consent. Trusted process and conveyance. It's one thing to generate a trusted process output or a proof, but it has to be conveyed across a network, whether that's a centralized or federated, or a distributed network. And then finally, we have parts that we're just putting together on the Pan-Canadian Trust Framework, the assessment process. So we've got a bit of writing there, but we're getting all of the pieces together. We'll be finishing that writing up. Some discussion about conformance criteria, mapping this to the European Union, vectors of trust. And then finally, we've added a nice overview of material that we've done before, just background material for someone that's not familiar with the discipline of identity management. Discussion on real-world identity, identity and identity management, defining population, defining the context, determining identity information requirements, properties of identifiers, assigned identifiers, and then we have discussion around identity resolution, ensuring accuracy of information. A lot of material here that is really a lot of good background material. And then we have all the terms and definitions that we've developed over the years, and usually a lot of these have ended up in policy instruments or guidelines that we've actually developed. So we just collected them all in here to for the benefit of applying the trust framework. So here we go. I think that's about it, and it's a whirlwind tour, but I just wanted to give you a quick video. You should be able to find the link to the document online and Twitter. I'll post it. And I guess final thing, just here's a quick bibliography of the authoritative documents that we've referenced, as along with some of the prior work and some of the works that we've cited in the document that were very beneficial to help us write this. So that's it in a nutshell, and I hope you enjoy reading the document. So goodbye.